Join me as I challenge myself to ask God for personal favors and see what happens next. Prayer is a fundamental part of many people's spiritual lives, and it can take many forms, from the reverent and ritualistic to the spontaneous and emotional. Whether it's a quiet moment of reflection, a communal service, or a passionate cry for help, prayer is a way for us to connect with something greater than ourselves. Have you ever felt hesitant to ask God for personal favors? Maybe you think it's selfish or that your problems aren't big enough to bother God with. Perhaps you're worried that you're not good enough or that you don't deserve God's attention. Or maybe you're simply not sure if God is even listening. I think many of us can relate to these feelings. We've all been in situations where we felt like our problems are too small or that we're not worthy of God's attention. We might compare ourselves to others who are struggling with bigger issues and think that our own struggles are insignificant by comparison. We might feel like we're being selfish or that we're taking God's attention away from those who need it more. But what if I told you that this way of thinking is actually a barrier to deepening your spiritual relationship with God? What if, by not asking for personal favors, we're actually limiting our own potential for growth and connection with the divine? In my own life, I've struggled with this exact issue. I've felt like my problems are too small, or that I'm not worthy of God's attention. But as I've grown in my faith, I've come to realize that this is a lie. God is not a limited resource, and He's not more concerned with bigger problems than smaller ones. He's a loving Father who desires a deep and personal connection with each and every one of us. The Bible is full of stories of people asking God for personal favors, from Moses' requests for guidance in the wilderness to King David's pleas for mercy and protection. These people weren't afraid to ask God for what they needed, and they were often met with remarkable answers. So why should we be any different? Why should we be afraid to ask God for the things that matter most to us? Of course, this doesn't mean that God is a genie who will grant our every wish. Sometimes the answer is no, or not yet, or I have something better in store for you. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't ask. In fact, I believe that asking God for personal favors is an essential part of a healthy spiritual relationship. When we ask God for what we need, we're acknowledging our dependence on Him. We're recognizing that we're not in control and that we need His guidance and provision. And when we do this, we open ourselves up to the possibility of deeper connection and transformation. We begin to see God as a loving Father who desires to meet our needs, rather than a distant deity who's only concerned with big global problems. So can I ask God for personal favors? Absolutely. In fact, I believe that it's an essential part of growing in my faith. By asking God for what I need, I'm deepening my connection with Him and opening myself up to the possibility of transformation and growth. And I believe that you can do the same. Thanks for joining me on this journey as I explore the possibility of asking God for personal favors. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your thoughts on this topic. Do you feel comfortable asking God for personal favors, or is this an area where you struggle? And if you're interested in more videos on prayer and spirituality, be sure to check out my other content on this channel. Thanks for watching.